What if Deku could teleport? Part 1. So this is his quirk, and he's not going to be born with it, but he's going to have it at like 4, you know, the normal age to get a quirk. And the quirk is basically like, I'm going to use numbers. So 1 meter is equal to 1 point, and 1 object is 1 point. So if he wants to teleport himself, then he has to teleport like his shirt, his underwear, and his pants not to be naked when he teleports there. So he's teleporting 4 things, that's 4 points. Then if he wants to teleport like a meter away, that's 5 points. And he has to grow these points, you know. These points are like stamina. And currently he has like 10 points. So he could only do like I'd say, what was it, like 6? Yeah, 6 meters away one time. He can teleport 6 meters away. But then his just stamina is going to be really low, like almost nothing. So when he's a kid, he's just sitting, waiting to get his quirk. Actually, nah, he can't wait to get your quirk. So Bakugo's just doing random stuff, you know, like the Bakugo he was. It's like kicking a soccer ball and then amazing other kids. And Deku tries to kick the soccer ball, but then the soccer ball got teleported like 3 feet away, you know? And he also teleported 3 feet away. And then they go like, oh wow, that's your quirk, nice, you can teleport and stuff, that's super cool. And then he goes like, yay, yeah. And Bakugo goes like, when I get my quirk, it's going to be stronger than yours and I'm going to beat you. But they're still friends, you know, competition and stuff. Then Bakugo gets his quirk, and then he asks Deku to fight him, like in a confident voice. And at this point, Deku has like 20 points of stamina after like a little bit, just like teleporting around because he was excited. So he could only teleport like 3 times. He can teleport like 3 times. And then Bakugo tries to throw a little explosion at him, but then Deku teleports right behind him and then taps him on the back. And then Bakugo just instant reflex and just throws a bomb right in his back. But then Deku again teleports right to his front and then trips him. So Bakugo accepts this as a defeat, but then he goes like, I will beat you later. So now they're both training, you know. And Kid Deku is just like teleporting around, and he has to get the groceries, and he wants to get the groceries just to use his quirk more. So he's basically having fun with his quirk and training it at the same time. And after around a week or so, he would have like 80 points to go on teleporting, and Bakugo would have like a little bigger bombs, and he would have more sweat, you know, just to make more bombs. So he challenges Deku again, but then Deku is still, you know, like running away, like teleporting right behind him and stuff, so he can't catch him. And this is when Deku touches Bakugo and then teleports him or somewhere else, you know, I don't know where, like 16 feet away on the slide at the park. Either way, then Bakugo's just confused for a second, and then Deku beats him, like by tripping him again. But there were these few times where Bakugo won because Deku didn't react fast enough to teleport away. And that's their childhood basically. So when Deku thinks he really wants to be the number 1 hero, then he really can't be the number 1 hero if he has like a really weak quirk that he can only use like 6 times, you know. So he just, he trains a lot. He just goes outside and then teleports from the backyard to the front yard like 6 times, then does it 6 more times after he's tired, and then 6 more times. Training a lot. So 1 year goes by, and Deku has around 1,300. 1,300 points. Nah, that's too much. 300 points. I think that's enough, yeah. So he has 300 points he can use on teleporting. And after this, Bakugo's won like 3 out of 10 of their fights. What next? Oh yeah, since Deku knows that his reflexes are like not good enough to beat Bakugo every time, then he starts training his body just to have instant reflex, and he goes outside he goes to the forest sometimes and plays with the dogs, and sometimes the dogs, some bad dogs, would just try to bite him. So he would go back and then try to train with those dogs by making them try to bite him, but then instantly like making his reflex faster by blocking or dodging or teleporting away. It doesn't matter. So he just keeps on doing this for a lot of time. Then he asks his mom if he could no, he's too young. His mom would easily say no. So he just kept on doing that for a good 5 years. What is he now? 5. He would be 10 years old now. So he asks his mom to go on a vacay to some kind of forest or something. Then he goes out into the wild and just trains with those other monkey things for a good 3 hours. Then they go back into their motel, and he keeps doing that for a good month or so. And 5 years later, they go back after a week of vacay. And 5 years later, this when the start of the anime is, Deku is just like a little more built than he was in the anime. Like Deku after training in the original anime is a little less buff than this Deku. So he has a few little scars here and there from not reacting fast enough to the dogs or the animals in the wild. And also from Bakugo, just from explosion he accidentally blew too big. And he's just walking by his normal pace through the under the bridge, And that's when the sewer monster, the sewer guy, the sewer villain, the slug villain, that's his name. He just jumps out at him behind him and just tries to take his body. He's going like, "Kid, give me your body and stuff. I want your quirk and stuff." But then Deku's not having this. He's just teleporting like right behind him and then going away. He's like, he doesn't really care about this guy. Oh yeah. Yeah. So before this, Deku's training was getting to the sand place, to a beach. I said sand place. He goes to a beach, the beach with the trash and stuff. He cleans up the beach by teleporting it onto a pile. Then he gets the sand and then just tries to teleport a handful, Because sand is just a lot of tiny rocks, then that's like hundreds and hundreds, I think like thousands of tiny objects, right? So that's thousands of points right there on stamina. So he just drains his stamina like that by training. So right now he has like at least 15,000 to like 30,000 points he can use. So he's just easily teleporting away from the slug villain, and that's when All Might appears and punches the villain, saying, "I am here" and stuff. And don't worry. And then he says, "Wow, you managed to like evade that slug guy for a long time. What's your quirk?" And he says teleporting, and it goes like, "Wow, that's actually a pretty nice quirk." And he's about to go, right? So Deku just doesn't follow him because he's pretty confident in his teleporting quirk. But just let's say for the sake of it, the slug villain got out because of All Might, and you can't put a bottle in your pocket and then just expect it to be there while you're flying it, the speed of sound. Like, that's logical. So the slug villain gets out, Bakugo just walking by with his other hooligans and stuff. He's not that bad because he's less confident because of Deku in this universe. And he kicks the bottle just to kick it, you know. He's not mad. Just, I do that stuff. I just kick a bottle if I see it. And he accidentally lets loose a slug villain. So there's just bombing and stuff, and then there's these big bombs. And yeah, Deku would instantly get there because of the whole teleporting thing. He wouldn't use that much stamina, you know, because he has a lot. And he sees Bakugo there in danger, and no one's really helping him. So he just runs up to Bakugo, then teleports Bakugo away. And that's when he just gets the slug villain, and teleports him, like, right to the building and stuff, you know? And Deku has to be, like, really cautious of this quirk, you know, because it's like Mirio. If he messes up with the angling, if he messes up the measurement and stuff, he could teleport right in between a building. And that stuff, he has scars from that stuff. He could teleport into a tree that's not hollow. You know, it's really dangerous. And he's just like distracting the slug villain, and that's when All Might appears, and he does his whole Detroit Smash thing, changing the weather and stuff. And then everyone's going like, wow. And he goes up, and then the reporters go up to Deku going like, what's your quirk? Then he's just saying, pretty obviously teleport, but yeah. Then he just teleports away. He's just walking to his house, and All Might appears, and he goes like, wow, you're really brave and stuff, blah, 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 blah. You couldn't handle that villain, you couldn't attack, but, you know, you saved that kid. And Bakugo doesn't really say thank you because, you know, they have an unspoken bond, like the bromance stuff. So All Might is just there, and they go like congratulating him, and then he goes like, would you like to be the successor of One For All? And I am gonna give him One For All because, you know, he doesn't really have any power to back up the teleporting. He could just like teleport under the ground, but then that would be basically killing a person. So yeah, I'm gonna give him One For All to just like punch a person right behind them. And that's it. He just accepts. And when All Might looks at his body, then he thinks, this kid can handle like 8 to 10%, right? Because this is around season 3 version of Deku. This is body type. And after that, that's the end of this part, and tune in for part 2, which will be tomorrow or today, whichever one. If this gets 5 likes, I'll do it today. But that's it. Goodbye. Have any ideas on what ifs? Comment it down below. Say if you like it or not. And that's it.